this is Jose. Here I am again with my 2017 Mercedes S550 or W222. This video is for the front differential. Okay, we previously worked on the rear differential, which as you saw was very easy, very simple to do. A lot of people is afraid of that service. I don't know why, but there's a lot of people that because they don't do their service on the differential, it breaks, it goes bad, and it's not a cheap thing to fix or replace. So make sure you do your differentials. The rear differential especially is so simple. The one in the front, the way I'm going to show you is a little tricky, but you're going to be able to do it. Simple procedure. The front differential, you usually have to take the axle out to fill up the oil, but the way we're going to show you here is going to be easy. It's going to be faster because you don't have to take the axle out. You don't have to take the whole thing out of there. Dismantle the car, the front differential, the front suspension. You don't have to do any of that. So just pay attention. Be careful with what you're doing. Make sure you use the right tools, torque or your plugs, and everything should be fine. Okay, so we're going to use the same bottle that the fluid comes in to pump the oil in, and we're going to do we're going to use a compressor to be able to pump the air in, just using 1 quart. And for the differential, we only use 550 milliliters. So pumping that in is easy. If you had to do a service where you have 5 bottles or 6, 9 bottles like the transmission, then of course it's better that you use the pump. Even though you can also use the pump for these, so we have a smaller pump. The one that I used for the transmission was a much bigger pump. It was a 10-liter pump. The one that I have here is a 3-liter pump, and I'm going to go through the parts that we need. But you can use these procedures very easy, and you can use these for everything: rear differential, front differential, transfer case, and different services that you could do just by using the compressor to push air into the bottle and pump the oil in. So without further ado, let's go. Let's see it. Okay, so here are the parts that we need for the front differential. Of course, the oil, and mercedes-benz oil is the original one. We only need a quart, so I didn't want to worry too much about getting a different brand, something similar, but make sure it's high point oil. Okay, make sure you torque everything at the end. This is the plug that we need. We have the part numbers at the end. Make sure you change the washer. It's a regular washer. Mercedes-Benz charged me $8 for these, and I have so many of these, but I wanted to make sure I get everything together. So you can see the part numbers will be on the description, so make sure you look at that. We're gonna use this valve with these connections that I made, and I'll show you in a little, so we can pump the oil out of the bottle and put it in the front differential. We're going to use these adapters, either ATF 109 or CTA 7415. This is the one I use to do the transmission service, and it's similar. It's the same thing as the ATF 109. So we can focus here. Yeah, there we go. ATF 109, and this is the CTA 7415. This is the one I use for the transmission, and we're going to use the same kind of procedure. Even though we're not using the pump, we are only going to use the bottle. The pump is, I'm showing you, this is a 3-liter. For the transmission, I'm going to use a 10-liter. But you could choose whichever way you like. I just like this because this oil cannot be mixed with anything else. If you use the pump to pump this into the differential, then you use it for transmission, it's no good. That cross-contamination is not good for your systems, so it's better to do it separately, and this is the best way to do it separately. You use the bottle to pump everything into the system, okay? So this will be the front differential oil that you need. High point SAE 75W 85. Make sure you get some brake cleaner. You have to clean everything afterwards. Don't leave any oil around. We have rags, a measuring cup, so we know how much oil we take out, and then how much oil we put in. And with this, the procedure that we're going to use, we need to know how much oil we're putting in. So since the system needs 550 milliliters, we have to make sure we have 450 left in the bottle total after we've taken everything out of the fittings that we're using, the hoses that we're using to pull everything out. So we have to have 450 millimeters left in the bottle. Okay, so let's start. So the car's ready. I put it on ramps, and we are ready to start working on the front differential. We have to take the covers off. No need to take the back one out, but the front one has to be out. Maybe just the front screws on the back one, then take the front cover off. Okay, we are continue taking the covers off. Took the back one off so we could take this one out. It's not necessary to take the back one completely off, but we were working on something else, so we're going to take this one out. Okay, so we're here between the two tires. The tires are straight out. This is the plug for the differential. This is the differential. Okay, you're gonna see this black cover here under the engine. Here is the differential. So let's get this out. See how much oil we get out of here. Let's see. Make sure you replace that plug. And I see the crash washer already stuck in there. Oh, here it goes. Okay. Now you got it loose. So you have to make sure that comes out. Don't have the old washer there with the new one, okay? So let's see. While we wait for this to drain, we're gonna go and fix our bottle so that we can use it as a fill pump for the differential. We're gonna use the same trick we use with the transfer case, okay? Because otherwise you will have to get the differential out and fill it in through there. So we are going to fill it in through here, and I'll show you how. But let's wait for this to drain. Meanwhile, we go inside and do that. Get the bottle ready. Okay, so we're gonna prepare this bottle to use it as a pump. This is the same bottle where the oil comes in, and we're gonna drill a couple of holes on the top. And you gotta be sure what you're doing. Take it easy, take your time, because you only have one shot at this. So you have to be very careful, and everything will be okay. Let's see, we're gonna use these connections. We're gonna use a valve, hose, put some fittings in there to make the hose fit in there, and the connector also on this side. So let's see. Here's the top. Put the oil on the side. You don't want to drop this. Be very careful. This has a strong smell, so keep that in mind also. And it's thick. That's why you also want to keep it warm. You want to keep this oil warm. Don't put it in the cold. If it's too thick, if it's cold, it'll take more pressure to pump it out of the bottle, okay? If it's light, if it's warm, it's gonna be easier to get it out of the bottle. So we're gonna make a hole big enough for the hose to fit. Okay, it's gotta fit tight. That's why I like to use this. All right, it's nice and tight in there. That's what we want, because we don't want air to escape. We want to build that pressure inside. Now let's do it for the tip of the compressor. Okay. Now we gotta make sure this is all clean. We don't want any debris in there. Okay, we have 2 holes and we are ready. This is gonna go into the differential. Okay. Okay, so that goes into the differential. You're gonna have this closed. All right. We're gonna put it in. We're gonna put the hose in here, and we're gonna have the other side of the hose in the bottle. Okay. So once we are done pumping the oil in, we're gonna close the valve, okay, and we're gonna let this pull the hose out of the liquid, so that the remaining of the liquid that's in the hose will fall out. After that, we've taken the oil out, we're gonna take the hose out, okay. Now we're gonna pull this whole piece out slowly from the front differential, and as soon as it comes out, you have to plug the hole with your finger. Okay, so some of it is going to spill, but try to keep a tray underneath, a clean tray, so you don't mix any oils, and so that you keep count of how many milliliters you have. Okay, so you plug the hole with your finger, then grab the screw, the drain plug, and put it in. Take your finger out, put the drain plug in. So you're gonna lose some of the fluid there, but you have to keep that in mind when you're filling it, because we need to have 550 milliliters in. Okay, so we are supposed to have 450 left here. After everything, after you drain everything, after you drain the oil out of the hose, after you drain all of these, after you take the plug out, or put the new plug in and take your finger out, you're supposed to have 450 left. Okay, so to be able to do that, we have to pump more in. So try to pump at least 700 milliliters in. So you have to have 300 left on the bottle. Okay, because you're gonna lose some of this fluid. Now it's better to have more in there, because you can always just open the plug a little bit and drain some more, but that's why you have to keep count of how much oil you put in there. So afterwards you have to measure the oil again. You have to make sure you have total 450 left. That way you know that you put 550 inside the front differential, okay? Just keep in mind that you have to account for all the oil that comes out, all the oil that comes out of the hoses and these, but this is not much oil. This is probably um, 20 milliliters, if so. And then you're probably going to lose another 5 or 10 when you are when you're plugging it with your finger, and then when you put using the plug. If you want, you can always just take these out and put the plug in already straight in instead of using your finger. Up to you, but you won't lose much. So you just got to make sure that everything that drops into a pan, and then you have to collect all of the oil to see how much you have left. That way you'll know how much you put in the system. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let's get ready. This goes in here. ATF 109. Okay. Nice and tight. I have the new plug ready with the washer. Make sure you put the washer on. It'll be leaking all over the place if you don't put the washer. Okay. Make sure this is easy for you to open and close. Be careful putting the hose in the bottle. Since it's very tight, you might have a little bit of a hard time. And you don't want to drop this bottle. Okay, we're in there. Now let's put the air. You have to go easy with the air, okay? You can't blow too much. Slowly but surely. Okay, here we go. You're gonna see the oil come through there. Okay, we have about 300 milliliters left in the bottle. So we're gonna start taking these out. Now we're gonna get rid of the hose. Okay, now for the moment of truth, remember to have a container underneath, make sure it's clean. You have to get these out and close it as soon as possible so you don't drain too much of your oil out, and have your plug ready. So that says it might be easier to just put your finger in there while you grab your plug, or have the plug ready in your hand, but I'd rather just do the finger for now. See how we do. I dropped a little bit in there, but I overfilled it, so, and I took 600 millimeters out of there. Let's see. Now we're gonna put the plug in, okay? I'm gonna close this. I'm not gonna torque it yet, but I want to make sure it's closed until I take account of all the oil that drained out and see if I have to get some more out. So we have just about 300 milliliters there. That was the old oil that came out of the differential. Really bad. And this is some of the oil that I drained out while I was getting my tools out. So just over 50 milliliters. Let's say 60. We still have to get some more out because we have 300. So, and 60 more, 360. We have to get some more out because we have to have 450 milliliters left of fluid. Okay, let's get some more out. Let's get the plug out again and drain some more fluid. Between 50 and 100 more. Oh, this was loose. I need 450 milliliters and I have 360. So between 50 and 90. Okay, we have 450 milliliters left. Now we're gonna torque these to 20 Newton meters or 15 foot-pounds. There we go. Let's make sure this was at 15. Yep, exactly 15. And we're done. We just put the covers up and it's ready. Very simple service. You just have to be careful, not dropping anything, don't make the hose too big on the bottle. And might be a little tedious just getting the right amount of oil in there by just taking oil out. That's why you have to overfill it, because you underfill it, then you have to be pumping all over again. But if you just overfill a little, then you just have to get oil out. Very simple.